Joe in real life. I wanted to lighten the mood a little bit this morning and talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm not sure if you've seen that movie, of course. We watched it a few days ago, the whole family. We all were together, and none of us were looking forward to it. Not one of us, not even the little one. Marvel Phase 4, or I guess what's now Phase 5, has been an impossible disappointment. Now, I want to be clear. These movies aren't good, and none of the phases are they good movies, but they're fun movies. They're action adventure stories, well-thrown character arcs and tropes to come to satisfying conclusions. And I love genre movies, and I love these sort of formulaic adventure stories. I find them really fun and infinitely nourishing, but Phase 4, oh, what a colossal disappointment. I mean, I think Doctor Strange 2 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Certainly the worst movie with the highest price tag on it. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a delight. It was exciting, it was funny, it was tragic, it was satisfying. Every character had a satisfying payoff. Their story came to an actual conclusion that makes sense in the context and the universe that's been created. It got pretty good reviews from what I remember, but there were haters. And I do think that much of that was a reaction to just what has happened with Marvel movies after Infinity War. They're so disappointing and they're so tepid that this got lumped into that sort of momentum. And while it was widely acknowledged as a pretty decent film, I don't think it got the credit it deserved, because it was absolutely beautiful. Just some of the fight scenes were the best I've seen since Winter Soldier. I mean, really, really creative, really intense, visceral. The CGI looked great. The furry cyborg monster characters all looked amazing. The world he created looked great. And the characters were handled with every bit as much care as the prior two movies. I would say more than the second one, which in my mind was a little bit of a letdown. Mostly I just didn't like the antagonist. I thought, well, I'm always happy to see Kurt Russell. I didn't find Ego compelling. I don't know. A near miss, perhaps, but a miss all the same. So, if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3 yet, I'd do it. It was well worth it. And it has not renewed my hope and faith in these fine adventure stories. I think their day is done. But I highly enjoyed it. And my whole family did too. What else? Today I'm going to do front squats. I think I want to build up to my daily minimum. And then I'd like to take it down to 135 and get what I can get for, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the 5 to 10 set ballpark. My legs are heavy. My legs are really heavy today from running, and the knees over toes. Heaviness, as some of you might know, that's different from soreness. My legs actually aren't sore, but they feel like there's little tiny weights imbued in the blood. They're slow. They feel kind of swollen, and like gravity's been turned up on them. So that's cool. I know that's a good sign, actually, or at least historically I've known it to be one. we're going to get into some front squats anyway. I'm really glad I didn't do knees over toes again yesterday, because I would be in impossibly bad condition today. And I had planned to do it today, but that's just not going to work. That's too much, and I got stuff to do. So yeah, we're going to goof off a little bit. That's what I'm going to do. I talked about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and how I'm going to phone in my workout. That's today's message. Stay tuned. After my warm-ups, which constituted of some crawling, crab crawls, bear crawls, some lateral kettlebell swings, which I'm getting into, pretty interesting, courtesy of the Bioneer on that one. Any followers of the Bioneer in the audience today, leave me a comment, man. I think that guy's super cool, super nerdy, super cool, really fun. Anyway, it became clear to me that I wasn't going to get anywhere today. Like, the heaviness, which I was somewhat cavalier about and even optimistic about, is more serious than I thought. My mobility was severely limited. And stretching into compromised positions with just body weight caused some very real pain to spark up and make itself known. This normally does not happen to me. Now, standing, just moving around regular, totally fine. Like, if anything, I feel good. I feel sharp, my brain's working, I'm wide awake, and I'm, like I said, I'm heavy, but I can move. But it's these weird positions. It's this, hip hinge to like my end range of motion. Things started getting really electric, sparkly, sharp, and specific. I don't fool with that. I don't fool with that at all. And this is something I learned from yoga, so maybe it's a hot tip that you haven't heard before. In Ashtanga yoga, there are two types of pain in movement. One is general, warm, almost as though it's hovering over you instead of inside you, and it doesn't have a focal point near a joint. That type of pain, we'll call that pain A, can be worked through and managed. You can breathe into it, even if it's very intense. Like, you can breathe into that and you can explore the positions. You even should. Pain type B, sharp, bright, specific, focused, near a joint. But even if it isn't near a joint, if it checks those other criteria, don't fucking fool with it, man. Don't fool with it at all. That pain isn't a warning of tissue damage coming. It's tissue damage is happening. The other type, that's just like the negotiations. And it doesn't mean that the other type isn't dangerous. It can be, but it's way less likely, and you have some playroom, So yeah, that's the takeaway. Like, even if type A pain is significantly stronger than your type B pain, you can move it, you can move with it, you can explore it. Type B pain, even if it's very, very mild, and I mean this sincerely, just don't do it. Just don't do it at all. Try to work around it, try to stay out of it. Be kind to yourself. So, now also I should say that this is Ashtanga principles. Ashtanga yoga is an old school style of Vinyasa yoga, arguably the oldest style of Vinyasa yoga. And like a lot of old school things, it has an old school sensibility, and some of that is bullshit. So buyer beware, grain of salt, all that. But as a general rule, I follow this general rule, and it served me pretty well. Maybe it will you too. So this is at 2x speed. I got up to my minimum, 155. It was heavy, it was clunky, I was getting some real warning signs, but it did move. And with it moving, I thought, let's try 165, maybe 175, and then call it. You're only seeing a few reps here, but I did quite a bit more than this. It just beforehand, you know, doing some goblet squats and whatnot. 155, very general, very herky-jerky, very Tin Man style movement, but nothing sharp, nothing bright. 165, not so much. You know, like, it moved probably exactly the same, but all of those signal markers were ramped up. And yeah, I'm not playing with that, man. I'm just not doing it. I'm an old man. I'm relatively able-bodied. I'd like to stay that way. So I stay out of that danger zone. And you know, it's kind of a wimpy workout. Probably I'll get something in tonight when I get home from work, but also I reserve the right to change my mind on that and just recover today. So yeah, that's today's video. I gave an unsolicited Guardians of the Galaxy 3 review, and I did a small amount of exercise. Some days be that way, right? What are you gonna do? You could cry about it, but I don't think anyone's listening. You know, everyone's much too busy with their own biz. And anyway, I don't feel bad. I feel happy. Like, it's nice to be in tune with yourself. It's nice to know your limits. And, you know, you come against that wall and your ego takes a hit, for sure. But it's just your ego. You know, your ego's a little bitch. When isn't your ego's feelings hurt? You know, like, fuck that guy. So dial it back and be good. Oh, I ran out of time. This video is super long and I ran out of time. It doesn't even make sense. I mostly rambled today. Maybe I'm feeling ditzier than I think. Yeah, that's probably it. Anyway, this is Joe in real life. I love you guys. Be good to each other today. Be kind. I got a long day of work ahead of me, so I'm going to try hard to do the same, you know? I'm trying to rein in my complaining. And honestly, the results have been great. So, I don't know. Perhaps I'll flesh that topic out tomorrow. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's do this again tomorrow. Okay.